The morning sky over Denver was clear and blue when the first reports came in. Commander John Reeves was drinking his coffee and reviewing defense protocols when his screen flashed red. Something big had just entered the solar system. "Sir, we have multiple objects approaching from beyond Neptune's orbit," said the young operator at the main console. Her fingers flew across the screen as she pulled up the data. "They're moving fast, very fast." John put down his cup and moved closer to the main display. The objects were massive, each one bigger than anything humans had ever put in space, and they were slowing down, not burning up. "Alert level 1, he said calmly. "Contact the President and the Joint Chiefs. Wake up everyone who needs to be awake." Within an hour, every major government on Earth knew about the visitors. World leaders gathered in emergency meetings while ordinary people looked up at the sky, wondering if today was the day everything would change. It was. At exactly noon GMT, every electronic device on Earth received the same message, translated into all major languages. "People of Earth, we are the hegemony. We have claimed your world for our use. You have 30 Earth days to prepare for our arrival. Resistance is not advised." The message was followed by images of planets being destroyed, civilizations falling. The message was clear. The hegemony could end Earth if they wanted to. At the Global Science Institute in California, Dr. Lisa Martinez watched the message replay for the 5th time. As the world's leading expert on renewable energy, she had been called to an emergency meeting with other top scientists. "They specifically mentioned our geothermal energy," she said, pointing to a part of the message most people had missed. "They want access to heat from the Earth's core. But why would an advanced space civilization need something so basic?" Dr. Peter Wilson, head of the astronomy department, shook his head. "Maybe it's not basic to them. Maybe they evolved differently." In Washington, D.C., President Olivia Davis faced the hardest decision of her life. The military generals wanted to fight. The diplomats wanted to talk. Everyone had an opinion, but no one had answers. "What do we know about these aliens?" she asked the room of advisors. Ambassador Susan Kelly stepped forward. "Very little, Madam President, but their message shows they value power and expect complete surrender. They don't see us as equals." General Frank Warren slammed his hand on the table. "Then we show them we're not easy targets. We have nuclear weapons, space defenses." "That would be suicide," Kelly interrupted. "Did you see what they did to that planet in their message? We need time." The president nodded slowly. "Time? That's what we need. Tell me about these 30 days they've given us." Across the Atlantic, in a small lab in London, engineer Alan Wright wasn't panicking like everyone else. He was studying the hegemony's transmission data with intense focus. Something about the signal itself, the way it had been sent, seemed odd to him. "Energy signature," he muttered to himself, scribbling calculations on a pad. "The way they broadcast, their ships must use some kind of fusion power." He worked through the night, analyzing every bit of data he could get. By morning, he had a theory, a crazy theory, but one worth pursuing. He picked up his phone and called Dr. Martinez at the Global Science Institute. "Lisa? It's Alan. I need to talk to you about the aliens. I think I found something." 3 days after the first message, humanity was still standing, but barely holding together. Some people ran to the mountains or built bunkers. Others partied like the world was ending. Most just tried to keep going day by day, hoping for good news. The good news came from an unexpected source. Alan Wright arrived at the Pentagon with Dr. Martinez to meet Commander Reeves and a team of military scientists. "The hegemony ships use a fusion drive system," Alan explained, pulling up his data on the big screen. "But there's a flaw in their design. They can't handle certain types of electromagnetic interference, specifically the kind generated by geothermal activity." Dr. Martinez nodded. "That's why they want our geothermal energy. Not to use it, but to control it. Earth is dangerous to them because of our active core." Commander Reeves leaned forward. "Are you saying we can fight them?" "Maybe," Alan said. "But we need more data. We need to know exactly how their technology works if we want to use this against them. The next day, President Davis addressed the United Nations. With calm dignity, she proposed a global response to the hegemony, apparent cooperation. We will appear to surrender, she told the world leaders. But behind the scenes, we will prepare. Every nation, every scientist, every resource we have will go toward finding these aliens' weakness. It was a risky plan. Many nations disagreed, wanting to fight or truly surrender. But in the end, survival won out over pride. The world would unite as never before. As the days passed, more alien ships arrived. They stayed in high orbit watching Earth but making no move to attack. Commander Reeves directed Earth's small fleet of defense ships to maintain a non-threatening posture while gathering all possible data on the visitors. Ambassador Kelly sent a message to the hegemony. Earth acknowledges your superiority and awaits instructions on how we may serve your needs. The reply came quickly. Prepare your geothermal energy facilities for our inspection and control. We will land in 20 days. This gave Earth's scientists the information they needed. The hegemony was indeed focused on geothermal energy. Dr. Martinez and Alan Wright led a global team working around the clock to develop a plan. If we modify our geothermal plants, Dr. Martinez explained to President Davis 2 weeks after first contact, we can create a synchronized electromagnetic pulse tuned exactly to the frequency that disrupts their fusion technology. Alan added, it won't destroy them, but it could disable their ships and weapons long enough for us to gain the upper hand. And if it fails? General Warren asked. Then we're no worse off than we are now, Dr. Martinez said honestly. President Davis looked at the gathered experts, the best minds Earth had to offer. Do it, and keep it secret. As far as the hegemony knows, we're preparing a warm welcome. The plan went into action immediately. Around the world, at every major geothermal facility, engineers made subtle but crucial modifications to equipment. Military forces disguised themselves as civilian workers. Space defense systems were hidden but ready. In orbit, Lieutenant Nicole Winters worked with Commander Reeves to position Earth's small fleet of ships in what appeared to be a defensive formation but was actually a strategic trap. If the plan worked, the hegemony ships would be pushed exactly where Earth wanted them. 3 days before the hegemony's planned landing, High Commander Zortak sent a final message. We are pleased with Earth's cooperation. Your survival is assured as long as you continue to serve. Ambassador Kelly crafted a humble reply while secretly meeting with world leaders to finalize Earth's true response. The trap was set. The lesson was about to begin. Humanity had been underestimated, and the hegemony was about to learn that true power comes in many forms. On the eve of the hegemony's arrival, Dr. Martinez and Alan Wright stood on the roof of the Global Science Institute, looking up at the distant lights of alien ships. Do you think it will work? Lisa asked. Alan took a deep breath. I think we've done everything we can. Tomorrow we find out if it's enough. As darkness fell across Earth, humanity prepared to fight for its future, not with the strength the hegemony understood, but with something they had never considered, the power of human ingenuity. The day the first hegemony ship landed on Earth was sunny but cold. It touched down in a large open field near Iceland's main geothermal plant. The ship was sleek and silver, shaped like a giant teardrop. It stood taller than a 10-story building. Dr. Kevin Phillips watched from a safe distance as the ship's door opened. He was Earth's top xenobiologist, sent to study these aliens up close. His hands shook as he adjusted his camera. Stay calm, he whispered to himself. Just observe. The aliens that walked out were nothing like humans had imagined. They stood on 3 legs and had skin that shifted colors like an octopus. Their 4 arms moved with strange grace, and where a face should be, they had a cluster of sensory organs that pulsed with light. Fascinating, Kevin said into his recorder. They seemed to communicate through light patterns. Behind him, Commander John Reeves tensed. Remember the plan. We appear friendly, but learn everything we can. Ambassador Susan. Kelly stepped forward as Earth's official greeter. She had practiced for days how to appear humble without looking afraid. "Welcome to Earth," she said, bowing slightly. "We are honored by your presence." The lead alien flashed a series of lights from its face. A mechanical voice came from a device on its body. "We are the hegemony. You will show us your geothermal facilities now. No pleasantries, no introductions, just demands." Ambassador Kelly nodded and guided them toward the plant where Dr. Lisa Martinez waited. Back at the Global Science Institute, Alan Wright was analyzing the first close-up images of hegemony technology. The landing ship's hull material was unlike anything he'd seen before. It seemed to absorb energy rather than reflect it. "This confirms my theory," he told his team of engineers. "Their systems are designed for environments with minimal electromagnetic activity. Earth must be like a storm to them." One of the younger engineers looked confused. "But if our planet is dangerous to them, why come here at all?" Alan pointed to a map of the galaxy on his wall. "Resources. We've learned they've conquered hundreds of worlds. They take what they need, then move on. Earth is just another stop for them." The engineer nodded slowly. "So they'll strip our planet and leave us to die?" "Not if we stop them first," Alan said. At the Iceland facility, Dr. Martinez gave the aliens a carefully planned tour. The hegemony representatives examined everything with their strange sensing organs, occasionally touching equipment with slender fingers that split into more fingers. "This is how we harness energy from the Earth's core," Lisa explained, showing them a simplified diagram. "The heat from deep underground creates steam that powers these turbines." The lead alien, who called itself High Commander Zortak, made a sound like metal scraping. The translator device said, "Primitive but sufficient. We will modify these facilities to serve our needs." Lisa nodded humbly, while mentally noting every question they asked, every piece of equipment they seemed interested in. The aliens were particularly fascinated by how humans protected sensitive electronics from the Earth's natural electromagnetic field. "You struggle with this problem as well?" she asked innocently. Zortak's skin darkened. "Our technology is far superior to yours. We do not struggle." But the reaction told Lisa everything she needed to know. The hegemony did have a weakness to electromagnetic fields, just as Alan had predicted. That night, she sent encrypted data to Alan and Kevin. The three scientists held a secure video call with Commander Reeves and President Davis. "They're definitely vulnerable to EM fields," Lisa confirmed. "They wear personal shields that must protect them from Earth's natural radiation." Kevin nodded excitedly. "And biologically, they're even more interesting. They evolved on planets with minimal geological activity. No volcanoes, no earthquakes, weak magnetic fields. Earth is like an alien environment to them. That explains their interest in controlling our geothermal energy," President Davis said. "They're not here to use it. They're here to neutralize it because it threatens them." Alan shared his screen showing new calculations. "If we can boost our electromagnetic output at precisely the right frequency, we could disable their technology without harming them physically. But we'd need access to their ships to know the exact frequency." Commander Reeves smiled slightly. "Leave that to me. Lieutenant Winters has been working on a plan." In orbit around Earth, Lieutenant Nicole Winters was playing a dangerous game. She commanded a small Earth defense vessel that was escorting the hegemony ships. In reality, she was scanning them with every instrument her ship had. "Steady approach," she told her crew. "Remember, we're just the friendly neighborhood patrol." Her second-in-command, Sergeant Ben Harris, monitored the readings. "Their shields fluctuate when we get close to their engine section. Almost like they're compensating for something." Nicole nodded. "Get as much data as you can without being obvious. Alan needs those frequency patterns." Meanwhile, Ambassador Kelly continued diplomatic talks with the hegemony. Each meeting revealed more about how they thought and operated. They were a collective of 7 different alien species who had joined together centuries ago. Some had been conquered, others had joined willingly for protection. All now served the hegemony's endless expansion. "How many worlds have you visited?" Kelly asked during one meeting. 342 inhabited planets," answered a smaller alien with tentacle-like limbs. "Earth is number 343. And do all these worlds provide different resources? The alien shifted colors, and what Kelly had learned was amusement. Most are stripped of whatever the hegemony needs. Some become colony worlds. The fate of Earth has not yet been decided. Kelly maintained her diplomatic smile while her blood ran cold. The message was clear. Earth was just another conquest to them. 2 weeks after the landing, humans had learned more about the hegemony than the hegemony had learned about humans. This was partly because the aliens didn't bother to study Earth cultures or history. They saw no value in understanding a species they considered inferior. This arrogance was exactly what Earth was counting on. Dr. Phillips made another breakthrough. While studying biological samples secretly collected from the aliens' living quarters, their cellular structure is sensitive to heat fluctuations, he told the scientific team. They regulate their body temperature within a much narrower range than humans can. Earth's natural geothermal activity must feel like living next to an unstable nuclear reactor for them. Alan integrated this information into his plans, so if we create a pulse that affects both their technology and makes them physically uncomfortable, they'll be disoriented and vulnerable. Lisa finished his thought. Around the world, modified geothermal plants were nearly ready. Each had been subtly altered to channel energy in ways the hegemony wouldn't notice. Military forces disguised as workers were in position. Earth's space fleet, small as it was, had mapped the positions of every hegemony ship. The plan was coming together, but time was running out. The hegemony was growing impatient with what they saw as human inefficiency. High Commander Zortak had already threatened to accelerate the process if humans didn't work faster to adapt Earth's facilities to hegemony standards. President Davis called a final secret meeting with her top advisors and scientists. "Are we ready?" she asked simply. Alan Wright showed the finished plans. The electromagnetic pulse network is complete. When activated, it will create a field that should disable their technology for approximately 30 minutes. Dr. Martinez added, "All major geothermal facilities are prepared. The modified equipment looks normal but can be switched to pulse mode instantly." Commander Reeves reported, "Military forces are in position worldwide. Lieutenant Winters has our space fleet." "Ready?" Kevin Phillips spoke last. "Based on my biological studies, the pulse won't permanently harm them, but it will make them extremely uncomfortable, like a human standing in freezing water. They'll be disoriented enough for us to act." President Davis looked around the room at Earth's best hope. "Then we proceed. Ambassador Kelly will invite High Commander Zortak to our surrender ceremony tomorrow. That's when we strike." As the meeting ended, Alan found himself standing next to Lisa. "Do you think it will work?" he asked quietly. She looked at him with determined eyes. "It has to. Because if it doesn't, Earth becomes just planet number 343 in their collection." Across the planet, humans prepared for the most important day in their history. The day they would teach the hegemony that true power isn't about conquest, it's about understanding. Morning broke over Washington, D.C. with a red sky. President Olivia Davis stood at the window of the Oval Office watching the sunrise. Today, Earth would either win its freedom or lose everything. "Madam President, it's time," said her chief of staff. She nodded and straightened her jacket. The surrender ceremony was scheduled for noon. By then, every person involved in Earth's defense plan would be in position. Across the Atlantic, in London, Alan Wright made final adjustments to the global electromagnetic pulse system. His hands moved quickly over the controls as he checked each connection one last time. "All stations reporting ready," said his assistant. "Iceland, Japan, Chile, New Zealand, all green." Alan nodded, too focused to speak. The system had to work perfectly. There would be no second chance. In Iceland, Dr. Lisa Martinez welcomed High Commander Zortak and the hegemony delegation to the main geothermal facility. Today they would officially take control. "We have prepared everything according to your specifications," she said with a practiced bow. "Earth is honored to serve the hegemony." Zortak's skin rippled with blue and green patterns. What Lisa had learned was their expression of satisfaction. "You have shown unexpected wisdom by surrendering without resistance," the translation device said. "Perhaps some humans will be worthy of serving directly in the hegemony fleets." Lisa forced a grateful smile. "We would be honored." The hegemony representatives moved through the facility, inspecting equipment and installing their own devices. These devices, which they called stabilizers, were actually designed to dampen Earth's electromagnetic field, making the planet safer for their sensitive technology. What they didn't know was that Earth's scientists had studied these stabilizers and found a way to reverse their function. With the right signal, they could be turned into amplifiers instead. In orbit, Lieutenant Nicole Winters received the coded message. "Eagle's Nest is prepared." It meant the ground team was ready. Now it was her turn. "Begin standard patrol route Delta," she ordered her crew. This particular route would position Earth's small fleet in a formation that looked defensive, but was actually designed to herd the hegemony ships into specific positions when the pulse hit. "They're watching us, but not closely," reported Sergeant Ben Harris. "Their main attention is on the surface activities," Nicole nodded. "Just as we hoped. They think the threat would come from weapons, not science." At the United Nations in New York, Ambassador Susan Kelly prepared to deliver Earth's official surrender speech. Hundreds of diplomats from around the world filled the General Assembly Hall. Many looked defeated, not knowing this was all part of the plan. Behind the scenes, General Frank Warren coordinated military forces worldwide. Soldiers disguised as civilians were stationed at every major geothermal plant. They carried special weapons designed by Allen's team, guns that would, still work after the electromagnetic pulse. "All units in position," his aide reported. Awaiting the signal, the general checked his watch. 1 hour until showtime. In Washington, President Davis met with her cabinet one last time. "Whatever happens today," she told them, "remember that humanity acted together. For the first time in our history, every nation joined forces against a common threat. That alone is victory." As noon approached, ceremonies around the world began. The hegemony loved displays of submission, and Earth gave them exactly what they wanted. In each major city, government officials signed documents of surrender, while alien representatives watched with smug satisfaction. In Iceland, High Commander Zortak personally accepted Earth's surrender from Dr. Martinez. As planned, she requested a small favor. "Great Commander, would you allow us to activate our final energy sequence? It is a human tradition to mark significant transitions with a display of our technology. One last demonstration before it becomes yours." Zortak's skin flickered with yellow curiosity. "You may proceed. The hegemony is not without mercy. We allow conquered species their small rituals." Lisa bowed deeply to hide her smile. "Thank you, Commander. You are most generous." She moved to the main control panel and entered a sequence. To the aliens, it looked like she was starting up the geothermal plant to full power. In reality, she was sending the activation signal to Alan Wright. In London, Alan received the signal. "It's time," he told his team. "Initiating countdown, 30 seconds to pulse." Around the world, scientists at every modified geothermal plant watched their screens and waited. The pulse had to be perfectly synchronized to work. In orbit, Lieutenant Winters received the same countdown. "Prepare for temporary system failure," she told her crew. "When it hits, execute maneuver Omega." At the UN, Ambassador Kelly was midway through her surrender speech when she saw the countdown appear on her hidden earpiece display. Without missing a beat, she continued speaking while subtly moving away from the alien representatives. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alan pressed the activation button. Pulse initiated. The effect was instant and global. Every hegemony device on Earth suddenly shut down. Their weapons, their communicators, their personal shields, all dead. The aliens themselves staggered, their skin turning pale gray as the carefully tuned electromagnetic wave passed through them. In Iceland, Zortak's translator failed mid-sentence. The High Commander's body trembled as disorientation hit. Lisa quickly backed away, giving the signal to the disguised soldiers. They moved in swiftly, using their specially designed weapons to stun the confused aliens. "What is happening?" Zortok demanded, lights flashing frantically across its face. Lisa stood tall now, no longer pretending submission. "Earth is happening. Commander, you wanted our power. Now you're feeling it." In orbit, the hegemony ships drifted helplessly as their engines failed. Lieutenant Winters led Earth's fleet in precise formation, surrounding the alien vessels. "Deploy the magnetic grapples," she ordered. These devices, designed by Allen's team, would attach to the hegemony ships and keep them disabled even after the main pulse faded. Across the planet, the same scene played out at every location. Stunned aliens found themselves surrounded by suddenly well-armed and confident humans. The tables had turned completely. In Washington, President Davis addressed the world on emergency channels that had been protected from the pulse. "People of Earth, today we stand together in defense of our home. The hegemony came to take our power, not understanding that Earth's true power has always been its people. The pulse has disabled their technology, but this is not a moment for vengeance. We will show them a kind of strength they have never known. Mercy and victory." At the UN, Ambassador Kelly took control of the situation, directing security forces to secure the alien representatives, not as prisoners, but as honored guests who would be treated with dignity despite their intentions. "The hegemony must learn that power comes in many forms," she told the gathered diplomats. "Today we show them the power of unity, ingenuity, and respect for life, even the lives of those who threatened us." In London, Allen watched the incoming reports with growing relief. The pulse had worked perfectly, disabling hegemony technology worldwide. Dr. Kevin Phillips quickly moved to ensure the aliens wouldn't suffer lasting harm from the electromagnetic exposure. "They're disoriented but stable," he reported. "The effect is temporary, just as we predicted." Back in Iceland, Lisa faced High Commander Zortok, who was now secured but treated with care. The alien's skin had regained some color, shifting between dark red and purple, anger and confusion. "How is this possible?" the commander demanded once emergency translators were provided. "Your species is primitive. You have no power that could challenge the hegemony." Lisa smiled. "That's where you were wrong, Commander. You saw power only as weapons and conquest. You never understood that knowledge is the greatest power of all. We studied you. We learned your weaknesses, and we used your own arrogance against you." As the pulse began to fade after 30 minutes, just as planned, Earth was firmly in control. The hegemony forces found themselves in an impossible situation. Their technology compromised, their forces surrounded, their confidence shattered. The lesson had begun, but it wasn't over. Earth had won the battle, but now came the harder part, showing the hegemony a better way. The true test of power wasn't in conquest, but in what you did after victory. The world changed in 30 minutes. When the electromagnetic pulse faded, humanity found itself in an unthinkable position, victorious over an advanced alien empire. Commander John Reeves walked through the halls of the captured hegemony ship that had landed in Iceland. Earth soldiers guided him, their weapons ready but not threatening. The ship's interior was strange, all curves and glowing surfaces that pulsed with faint light. "Most systems are still offline," a young tech specialist reported. "Their computers are rebooting but slowly. The pulse damaged more than we expected." John nodded. "Keep monitoring. I want to know the moment they try to send any signals." In the ship's command center, he found Dr. Lisa Martinez studying alien control panels with fascination. Her fingers hovered over symbols that seemed to shift and change as she watched. "Amazing technology," she said without looking up. "Their interface responds to thought patterns, not physical touch." John smiled slightly. "Can you figure out how it works?" "Given time, yes." Lisa finally turned to him. "How's our guest?" "High Commander Zortok is secure in the holding area. Dr. Phillips is making sure the environment matches their biological needs." In that holding area, which humans had quickly modified to be comfortable for alien physiology, Kevin Phillips checked readings on his tablet. The room's temperature, humidity, and electromagnetic shielding were all carefully calibrated. Across from him, seated on what looked like a floating cushion, High Commander Zortak's skin shifted through patterns of dark blue and purple. The colors of confusion and anger. "Your containment is adequate," the alien said through an emergency translator. "But unnecessary. The hegemony will respond to this attack. More ships will come." Kevin adjusted the room's temperature slightly. "Perhaps, but they'll find the same welcome you did. Earth is no longer defenseless." Zortak's skin flickered. "How did primitives like you defeat our technology? It should have been impossible." "That's the lesson you're here to learn, Commander. Humans aren't primitive. We're different. We evolved on a planet that shaped us to be adaptable, creative, and cooperative when threatened." The alien's sensing organs pulsed with light. "The hegemony has conquered species far more advanced than yours," Kevin smiled. "Maybe advanced isn't the same as powerful." In orbit, Lieutenant Nicole Winters supervised the securing of the hegemony fleet. Earth's ships had attached magnetic locks to the alien vessels, keeping their systems disrupted. Teams of specialists were carefully boarding each ship. "Status report," she called over the secure channel. "Flagship secured, Lieutenant," came Sergeant Ben Harris's voice. "We've got control of their navigation and weapons systems. The alien crew is contained and cooperative." Nicole checked her display showing the positions of all ships. "Any signals getting out?" "Negative. Their communication array is completely disabled. They're blind and mute up here." In Washington, President Davis met with the United Earth Council, a new body formed in the crisis that included representatives from every nation. The large round table in the Emergency Command Center was crowded with leaders who, just a month ago, had been enemies. Now they worked together for humanity's survival. "The immediate threat is contained," the president reported. "But we need to decide our next steps carefully. The hegemony is vast. They've conquered hundreds of worlds. More ships will come eventually." "Ambassador," Kelly nodded. "Which is why how we treat these aliens now matters more than the victory itself. We need to show them a different kind of power." General Warren frowned. "You want to be nice to the things that came to conquer us?" "Not nice," Kelly said firmly. "Strategic. The hegemony rules through fear and force. We have a chance to show their people an alternative." "Ambassador Kelly is right," said the representative from India. "This is not just about defending Earth now. It's about changing how the hegemony sees us, and perhaps how they see themselves." In London, Alan Wright led a team studying the alien stabilizer devices. They had been designed to dampen Earth's electromagnetic field but had been converted into amplifiers during the attack. Now Alan saw greater potential in them. "These could revolutionize our power grid," he told his excited team. "The way they channel energy is incredibly efficient. If we can adapt this technology, we could solve Earth's energy crisis overnight." One of the engineers looked concerned. "Is it ethical to use their technology this way?" Alan considered this. "Seriously? Good question. I think it depends on our intentions. Are we taking it to gain power over others or to improve life for everyone? That's the difference between us and them." Back at the Iceland facility, Lisa continued studying the alien ship's systems. She discovered something unexpected while examining their navigation data. "John, come look at this," she called to Commander Reeves. "These star charts show the hegemony's territory, but look at these markings." She pointed to symbols scattered throughout the map. "These appear to be rebellion points, places where they've faced resistance." John leaned closer. "There are dozens of them. Some are recent." "Exactly. The hegemony isn't as all-powerful as they want us to believe. Other worlds are fighting back too. This discovery changed everything. If Earth could contact these other resistance points, a larger alliance might be possible. Humanity might not have to stand alone." At the United Nations, Ambassador Kelly prepared for her first official meeting with the captured hegemony representatives. Unlike High Commander Zortak, these were diplomatic officers, members of the 7 species that made up the hegemony coalition. "Remember," President Davis had told her, "we're not negotiating from weakness anymore. We're offering them a choice, not begging for mercy." The meeting room was prepared carefully, Each alien representative had an environment suited to their biology. The room's design showed Earth's attention to detail and respect for life, even the lives of would-be conquerors. As the aliens were escorted in, Kelly noticed something interesting. The representatives from the more recently conquered species seemed less hostile, more curious. Perhaps not all members of the hegemony were equally committed to its conquering ways. "Welcome," she began. "Earth wishes to discuss the future of our relationship with the hegemony. We have demonstrated our ability to defend ourselves, but we prefer cooperation to conflict." One of the aliens, a tall, willowy being with crystalline features, spoke first. "You have defeated one fleet. The hegemony spans 1,000 light years. Your victory is temporary." Kelly smiled. "Perhaps. But we've learned much from this encounter. Each ship you send will meet the same fate. Eventually, the cost will outweigh any benefit Earth might provide." Another alien, smaller with multiple eyes that blinked independently, asked, "What do you propose, human?" "A new relationship. Not as conquerors and conquered, but as equals with different strengths. Earth can offer the hegemony something more valuable than our geothermal energy." The aliens shifted, their various biological features expressing skepticism and curiosity in different ways. "What could primitives offer the hegemony?" the crystalline one asked. "Innovation," Kelly said simply. "You've conquered hundreds of worlds, but when was the last time the hegemony created something truly new? Conquest brings stagnation. Every species you absorb becomes like you, thinking like you. But progress requires diversity of thought." The small multi-eyed alien's gaze intensified. "Interesting concept, unproven. Look at what we accomplished in 1 month. We studied you, understood your weaknesses, and developed a defense that neutralized your superior technology. Imagine what we could create as allies instead of enemies." As the meeting continued, Dr. Phillips noticed something remarkable while monitoring the aliens' biological responses. Some of them, particularly those from species more recently added to the hegemony, showed physical signs of interest and hope rather than anger. The hegemony wasn't a single mind. It was a collection of conquered peoples, some who might welcome a new way forward. That evening, leaders around the world received promising news. The alien crews, once they understood their situation, were largely cooperative. Many seemed relieved rather than angry. It appeared that not everyone in the hegemony embraced its conquest philosophy. "We may have allies within their own ranks," President Davis told her advisors. "This isn't just about defending Earth anymore. This could be about changing the hegemony itself." The lesson had begun. Earth had shown that true power wasn't about advanced weapons or conquering others. It was about understanding, adaptation, and working together against impossible odds. Now, humanity would show that the greatest power comes after victory, in the wisdom to build something better than what came before. 1 month after Earth's victory, High Commander Zortak stood before the United Earth Council. The large meeting room in Geneva was filled with leaders from every nation. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, illuminating the scene. Zortak's skin had changed. The angry reds and purples were gone, replaced by thoughtful blues and greens. Beside him stood representatives from all 7 species of the hegemony. President Davis spoke first. "Commander, you came to Earth seeking power. Instead, you found a lesson. Are you ready to share what you've learned?" The alien sensing organs pulsed gently. "The hegemony has conquered for 10,000 years. We believed power came from taking, from controlling, from fear." Zortak paused. "We were wrong." The room stayed silent as the commander continued. "In 1 month, your species showed us a different kind of power. You defeated our technology not through superior weapons, but through understanding. You captured our forces not to destroy them, but to teach them. This is new to us." Ambassador Kelly stepped forward. "And what will you tell your leaders when you return?" "The truth, Earth cannot be conquered because Earth's power does not come from things that can be taken. It comes from here." Zortok touched his upper body where a human heart would be. From cooperation, from diversity of thought, from respect for life. Not everyone believed the aliens' change of heart. General Warren watched with narrowed eyes, his hand never far from his weapon. But Dr. Martinez saw something genuine in the commander's changed colors and posture. "What happens now?" asked the representative from Brazil. President Davis looked to Dr. Phillips, who had spent the most time with the aliens. He stood and addressed both humans and aliens. "We've prepared a proposal. Earth will share certain technologies with the hegemony, clean energy, medical advances, art, and culture. In return, the hegemony will recognize Earth as an independent ally, not a subject world." One of the other aliens, a being with flowing tendrils that moved like water, spoke up. "Some in the hegemony will resist this new relationship." "Yes," agreed Ambassador Kelly. "Change is never easy, but we've identified at least 30 worlds in your empire that might welcome a different approach. Perhaps Earth could begin relations with those systems first." The meeting concluded with a historic agreement, the first equal treaty between Earth and an alien power. As the aliens departed, Alan Wright approached Lisa Martinez. "Do you think it will last?" he asked quietly. "This peace?" Lisa watched the hegemony representatives board their ship, not as conquerors but as changed beings. "I think we've started something important. The hegemony came looking for power and found wisdom instead." 3 months later, the first joint human-alien mission launched from Kennedy Space Center. The ship, named Unity, carried scientists and diplomats from Earth and 3 hegemony worlds. Their mission, to visit planets that had shown resistance to the hegemony and offer them alliance instead of conquest. Commander Reeves and Lieutenant Winters led the Earth contingent. As the ship rose into the bright morning sky, President Davis watched from the viewing platform. "They wanted power," she said to Ambassador Kelly standing beside her. "Earth gave them a lesson." Kelly nodded. "And now we all move forward together." On board the Unity, Dr. Phillips prepared to meet new alien species. In his quarters, he kept a small globe of Earth, a reminder of the home that had taught the galaxy that true power doesn't come from taking or controlling. It comes from understanding, from cooperation, and from the courage to show mercy, even to those who meant you harm. Earth hadn't just defended itself, it had changed the stars forever. And across the galaxy, worlds that had lived in fear of the hegemony for centuries looked toward Earth with something new in their hearts: hope.